All right. Hello, hello. Not sure. Yeah, mic's working. All right. What's everyone doing?
1 minute remaining. I'll be leading with the University of Michigan sentiment.
I think we are still here.
Ten
Let's go.
seconds. 55 spot 1, 55 spot 1, lower than forecast, 55 spot 4. 1 year inflation, 4 spot 7%, 4 spot 7%, lower than forecast, 4 spot 8%. 5 year at 3 spot 7%, 3 spot 7%, lower than forecast, 3 spot 9%. Expectations at 51 spot 7, lower than forecast, 52. Conditions at 60 spot 4, lower than forecast, 61 spot 3. Looking to the markets, a bit of strength in the S&P 500 and weakness in the dollar as the University of Michigan inflation expectations come in lower than expected. We have posted the University of Michigan September 2025 final report on the feed for those interested.
Hmm. This could technically be a decent long here if we play off that 98 to 95. I'll look above here, see if we can hold. Something like this, potentially. We see a bid here.
UK's Chancellor Reeves says long-term UK borrowing costs are still too high. Keep in mind, Chancellor Reeves currently speaks in a panel in London.
Should be pretty obvious. This either holds here or flips our value edge. And then we head back through. They do. Also, our 15-minute see.
Reeves says UK public finances are still pretty precarious.
Here's our test into our value high, as well as our previous 15-minute POC. See if we can push below and then offer, or if this can bid and push back over 698. I think this will decide directionality for at least short term. It should go to 85.
We have posted a live video where UK's Chancellor Reeves is currently speaking.
I'm at 1 here on EOS. Bit of a slowdown to this edge. Could see a reoffer of 94 potentially. We don't just see a big clear smackdown at 90. So watching our ETA try to see. I could see something like occurring. Right, where we have to put in one more reoffer. We'll see. As we just, well, our target is here, right? This is our POC shift. So now I want to see if we're playing around this POC to this POC, or if we can get below and hold this as resistance. If we can do that, then we get one more leg down. Right, so we're here. This will All right, this should be a great secondary target now that we're pushing into our 30-second opening range. I'm not going to be looking for any more downside until we can flip below. Same thing on NQ. So probably do something like this. And then we figure out what we're doing. Would be my guess. Morning, Arch. But yeah, this is a great secondary risk off for ES. I think we could chop here for a little bit. Leave a runner if you have the ability, but you can see a little pause here. But like if we can flip this 69, 71 area, then I think we head down to, I don't know, like 60, 55, 60 on ES. Give you another 10 points. I'll look to get back in if push down again. But good enough for me. It's like 1,000 something bucks. Good first trade. Kitty.
UK's Chancellor Reeves has now finished their remarks on the panel.
Yeah, you'll get another entry. Play around this 30-second opening range. Should be easy. I think we probably balance between this like 74 and 84 on ES right now. A little bit. And then we'll probably keep going down. We just gotta wait and see. NQ leading down. We have flipped our 30-second opening range on NQ. Oh. There's
Trump says the economy is doing well, prices are down. Keep in mind these comments are coming from a taped playback of Trump departing the White House. Trump says if the government has to shut down, it will shut down.
all right.
Nasdaq 100 touches a session low after turning negative.
All right, this is target on ES for me. We either flip this, or this is the low for short term. Just gonna have to wait and see. But this is what we were looking for. Previous day value high
According to the
here.
Kremlin, they
And
say they
our
call for
ORL to
the calls
ORM.
for shooting down Russian jets amount to a serious spike of escalation near the Russian borders. So again, the Kremlin saying that the call for shooting down Russian jets amounts to a serious spike of escalation near the Russian borders. Trump now ends this remarks to reporters.
What's up, OD? Man, I have the worst migraine. Day 2 of it. It's terrible. It's just the light sensitivity, man. It's really bad. I know if I like don't respond or like message you guys letting you know why I'm not here, it's because like I'm like actually bedridden. And I can't like open my eyes. That's the only time I'm like not here. If I'm like sick, I'll usually message Darian or something and be like, yo, like I've got a fever. I can't come in. Not state. But if I don't say anything, it's because like my body is in like hibernation mode and I am passed out with a terrible migraine. The light sensitivity like makes me like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like I have vertigo. Glasses. I wish that helped.
Citigroup downgrades European equities to neutral from overweight.
All right. Oh, I didn't post this on you. All right, this is first trade. We shorted the flip off the failure here at our 98.95, right? We either were going to hold here. This was our value edge here, or we flip below and then we rotate through value. First target was here into 85. We took off first target, rotation through, and then played it down. POC, POC, developing, shifted up here, played it down to here, and then we played it down to here. Why did we use this as our targets? Well, it's literally where the developing POC moved, right? So this is why I'm playing this as my targets. 85s and our 70, right? And if we flip this, where am I thinking we're going to go? Well, probably here, right? Or developing before that. That's the whole logic. Nothing crazy. Just literally playing POC to POC to POC. Or node to node to node. Hmm. It is so hard to find things.
Fitch Rating says US private credit default rate flat at 5.2% for August this year.
Good hold so far on NQ. Looking for the same movement on ES where we can hold below our value edge, as well as our 30-second opening range. So this is our previous day value high. So far holding it as resistance. That is what we want to see. But we need to get below this 69. We had a good hold of our 30-second opening range high here at our 74s. We got a look below. We're now holding previous day value high here at our 72. Right? This is our opening range mid right here. We are now looking to see if this look below can hold as resistance. If so, then I'd expect a rotation down to our third target, 60s. Why do we look for this as our target, other than it being our POC shift? Well, that would be previous day value high, a look back inside yesterday's value, and we'd be looking for a rotation down to previous day POC, right? Just like usual. If value high fails to hold, then we'll look for a rotation back down to previous day POC. What are we always looking for with our system? Why did we take the play at our highs? Well, what were we looking for? Well, we were looking for either a hold of our value high, right, as supportive, or a failure and a look back in for a rotation through value. So we've now done today's value. We've done that rotation through it. Now we're watching to see if yesterday's value high is going to hold as supportive. That's what we're doing again. If this fails, then we should look for a rotation through. If it holds, then we look for this to be supportive, and then we go back up, right? This is why it was our major target, because this is an area of interest. It's the exact same play that we took up here, where this was our value high, and then we rotated through. Now we're watching if we're going to do the same thing with yesterday's range. If we get back inside this value, then we should be expecting that rotation through off of a failure to hold. Hopefully that is clear at this point. A little look below, holding our value edge as resistance. It's like locked. What is going on? Is nothing.
S&P 500 are raising gains, now close to flat on the session.
Oh no, I get these really bad migraines. I get some like light sensitivity. Where I just like can't function in society. They happen every once in a while. My dad gets them as well. Pretty unfortunate. All right, I'm at one here. Hopefully everyone took this. The understanding the rotation through value high holding as resistance into our POC. Yeah, huge. Leave a runner, let it be. Second trade of the day, done. The flip of our value. Low a day is what, 63? I could see us like testing here essentially before we continue down further, but we'll see. Might be able to get a reoffer into this edge here now that we've hit target. All right, target again is this previous day POC. So I'm thinking we might need to retest this, and then we can look for this to like flip, or this will hold as supportive. And we'll retest our entry.
ByteDance are to get about 50% of TikTok US's profit under the Trump deal. The S&P 500 erased its opening gain, and the Nasdaq 100 falls spot 4% now. So looking into the ByteDance piece then, TikTok's Chinese parent company will likely get about half of the profit from the platform's US operations after it sells majority ownership to American investors as part of a deal orchestrated by Trump, according to people familiar with the matter. ByteDance is expected to receive a licensing fee on all revenue generated, making its algorithm available to the US, as well as a share of the profit in proportion to its equity stake, according to people who asked not to be identified because the terms are confidential.
There you go.
Overall, the
Good job.
Beijing-based parent company will probably get 50% or more of the overall profit of US operations after its new owners take control, the people said.
Listen, like the primary way that I trade, guys, is just we create key distributions out of everything. Right. So I break everything down into what we would consider, like, and we create a value high, a value low, a POC, and we look for rotations through those distributions. That's like basically it. So we have our daily structure, which creates a value high and a value low, which again is just following this idea, right? This is a D distribution. This is our value to value, and we expect rotations through that value because this is an auction, right? So when I talk about a balance, if I talk about a value, these words are all synonyms for balance or an auction, or right, like they all are just placeholder words for the same thing, which is a distribution between buyers and sellers where they're located. We expect in these nodes, right, that look very similar to this that price will rotate through. And in these tails, we expect our primary sellers and our primary buyers. And then we expect that the mid is two-sided trading, right? POC is where the most volume has been traded within that range. So we expect that to be a first target, and we expect these edges to be decision points where either value shifts or we rotate back through, right, the other side. Because this is seen as discount, this is seen as premium, right, within this range, and we're looking for rotations through. And either on a retest in, we hold that high, right, that tail of this auction, or we fail and then we rotate through said auction. And so if we can separate our areas into that into that kind of like into these areas, right, we have an understanding of what we expect price to do, right? So this was our where we tried to flip value. We failed here, and so I expect then a rotation through said area, right? And we can see this node. So this tail failed to hold as supportive, so we rotated through the node, right? That's the whole idea. We have another node here, right? So if we can't hold on this edge, I expect then rotations through said node. And what do we do if at the edge of this node, right, or the tail in this area fails? Well, we expect then a rotation through to the next node, right? Because if this doesn't hold as supportive, and we can't get back over to rotate to the top of this node, and I expect this node to hold as resistance, and then we rotate through to our next node, right? Like that's the entire basis of our system, is that we break down the auction into separate areas of balance, node to node to node, and we either respect these nodes as supportive, right? This is an auction, this is an auction, this is an auction, and either we hold the high or we rotate through, right? That's the entire basis. So if we see that each one of these nodes has potential to result in these rotations, do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see these nodes? If I highlight it like this, right? Like where we could go. So we've broken it down in zone to zone to zone. We then have an entire idea of where we're going to trade. Right? So when we fail to hold previous day value high, well, what are we going to do then? Well, probably head down to POC, right? Just like we have in our pathing here, like we've written up. If value high doesn't hold, then we expect a rotation to POC. So where did I enter? Well, off the failure to get back above our value high, as well as today's value low, right? Which is here. This is our pivot. We either make this supportive, or we're going to rotate down from previous day value high to previous day POC. Yeah? Right? Giving you a very nice trade for a secondary move. Am I looking for more if we can't get below previous day POC? No, right? This is where we risk off. And now we expect rotations to occur in this node, right? This is our node right here. So until we can build below in this tail of this node, I'm not expecting more downside. I expect rotations back and forth. But this is balance, right? We know that there are buyers, there are sellers up here into our 68. We know that there are buyers down here into our 57. And so I'm not expecting a ton until we figure out which way we're going to go. This is our mid of this structure, right? So this is what we would consider POC. This is where the most volume has traded in this node, right? At the 63. We can see that there's a lot more volume here. And so if we hold the mid as resistance, that's a pretty good sign that we want to continue down instead of up, right? If sellers are holding the mid of our structure, then we are going to be looking at this as our offer, and then we'll be looking for a secondary move below in the low of this structure for continuation down. If we push above and hold this as supportive, then I have to look for trades into this area. But until then, right, all we're doing is playing off of this structural node, and we're looking for a directional bias. Yeah. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. Remember, like my entire basis of all my trades is just this logic. I get chopped up on value areas. How do you expect the move to finally happen from one value area to another, or do you keep your stop loss on top of that choppy zone with short? Well, I mean, it's just about understanding what what is the most likely outcome, right? Based off of our overall trend. Does it make sense to look for? It's more of like like which direction do you have a statistical edge in? What's the overall trend on the day, right? So things that I look for before I take a short are we above or below VWAP? Who's in control on the day right now, right? Are we below VWAP and are we holding that as resistant? That's your first question that you can ask yourself. If we're below and holding it as and respecting it as resistance, that's a good idea that we're probably in a short trend, right? Secondary thing that I look for is, are we holding above or below POC of the previous candle, right? That's a good secondary signal. So we have our overall structure that we're trading, but what are we doing on a candle to candle basis? What's the trend? Where are our current sellers, right? So we have our overall price action sellers, right, for the day that give us a trend, but then we have a more micro trend that we can play off of, which is, are we respecting our POC to value area of our previous candle? Where are those sellers and buyers positioned? And we can see that we are very clearly respecting our previous candle's POC to value, which means that we are in a pretty bearish trend to the downside, right? Remember, this yellow is POC of previous candle. This dotted line is our value of our previous candle. So when we open and reject POC of previous candle, what are we doing? We're not looking for longs. We're looking for shorts for continuation down. There's no question about that. Until these can flip, we're below VWAP as resistance, we're below our 30-second opening range as resistance, and we're below POC as resistance. So if you're looking for a long there, you're out of your mind. Right? Like nothing has invalidated the short. And so there's no reason to stop out because nothing about this area is bullish. So either you're waiting for the flip of this yellow zone or this is your risk, right? That's the only thing that's on your mind, is that we're either looking for continuation down or a very clear flip back over this zone. Where would you put your stop loss at that value high entry? I mean, the yellow zone, right? 71 to 74 is your risk if you're playing off of that, right? Or you're playing off of the failure and look into this, and then you're playing off of this, and then this is your risk. 68 to 72. I mean, but again, like it's not like a strict structural thing. It's like if we're seeing the seller show interest here, and we already see that NQ has done the move, we know what we're expecting to happen, right? I literally said it, which is we're watching for ES to show the exact same pattern that NQ did, which is a look through our 30-second opening range, a lower high at our mid, just here, right? And then a look below. So as soon as we see this look below after this move, we expect a continuation of these lower highs. And then we get our rotation down to target. Remember, like a failure to show supportive hold over our previous day value structure will allow for a continuation down. if we can look back above this and hold it supportive, then I want to be playing off of this 71 to 74 because then we can go up. I'm not looking for a bearish move until we can push back below this. And again, like this is just right from target. Previous day POC to previous day value high. If we can now hold this as supportive, then we can look back up, right? And what is our target? Well, our target will be our POC shift back up at 90. I'm guessing we'll get a retest. I'm kind of expecting this to happen. Then we look for this in like the more micro structure. Expecting like 79, 78-ish to hold as resistance short term. And then we retest this edge, and then we look for this to go supportive, and then we'll rotate up to that structure. That'll probably be what happens here if we're going to go up. So just keep an eye on this. If this fails here, well, we can look at it as a potential participant who's offsides. Like, again, just watch. This is VWAP, right? So all we've done is revert on NQ to our VWAP and revert to our VWAP again on ES. So this is where we expect our offer to be resting, and we're looking for a decision to be made. We can see that this is where buyers are on our footprint here at 68 to 72. And so like this is our pivot of like where the move will either bid or fail at our 30-second opening range. We either look back below this and then hold this as resistance and then look to the downside again, trapping these participants here who are trying to push us back up, or we'll fail and rotate back down. I'm gonna delete some. I'm doing a lot of drawing today, but it seems like you guys are starting to get what I'm talking about, so I want to be here. We are looking for this to build here, right? Build, 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 build. We're building out this node. We want to see this hold as supportive, or we'll flip back below and then play this as our offer back down again. Just gonna move this over. Still relevant. Going right to target. Why is that guy typing play? Because he's trying to enter the giveaway, but I haven't turned it on yet. I need to turn on my AC. I'll be right back. All right, so my idea now is we either build here right? Building out this flag, or these participants from these buyers who are really attempting to step us back up are going to be offsides, and we look back below this 68, 69 area, and this will then lead to a downside move with these buyers offsides. So this is our pivot right now, and we're figuring out if this is going to hold as resistance where we thought it would. And if this looks below, we need to flip short. And then our risk is off of 72. This little look below is pretty telling that we don't have any interest above VWAP yet. We need to see what the reoffer is going to look like, and then if we can play this to the downside. The bid should try here, and then we should see sell side try to step in. Same thing on NQ, same thing on RTY. VWAP is our rejection point across the board, right? We're watching to see if this is going to hold, and if this fails. If this does, this should lead to these participants being a bit offsides here. See what they do. I'm going to take off a little risk here on NQ as we push into our value edge to 83. And then leave runners from our flip here. See if we get the full rotation through to 530 to 50. Yes, I'm looking for like 62. Ideally. POC of previous candle. That's a good area to look to take off a little risk as we push into it. Out one on EOS here into target. And then if 62 can go offer and we
In
push
10 minutes time
below
now, at the
today's
top of the
value
hour,
low
we get the release of
and
the
previous day
Canadian budget
POC,
balance. The prior was
then we can look down more.
3.63 billion.
Hopefully this is clear. Like I feel like we just walked through the entire thing of like what this failure represents, but I'm out 2 there on ES. And out 2/3 on NQ. And then we live runners. Full rotation through off of a failure. And again, like for more downside, we need to see this flip, previous day POC. And it's the same thing as before, right? We're just playing off of this previous day value high off the look above, and then the look back below and failure. Yep. What's up, guy? Later, Sparrow. Have a great weekend. Thanks, man. Yeah, station. I don't really expect the next leg to happen until RTY can get below 30. Yeah, definitely, man. One strategy does not like you have to remember that if it was as easy as one play working every day the same way, that it would be very easily priced out of the market because algorithms would be taking advantage of it, and then that would then lose its edge. So not every day can be played the same in the same manner with the same aggressivity with the same size, because like we can play the rotations through balance pretty similarly, but different days have different volatility metrics, have different volume, right? Have different like areas of, or I guess levels of liquidity. And so like we kind of have to play with different risk parameters. But when we see like these rotations are occurring and being respected pretty clearly on the day, I usually play them a bit more aggressively because we have very clear structure to play around and areas of like invalidation. And so to me, like this is like one of the easier markets to trade because it's like literally zone to zone. But not every day can be played like this. Some days it's just straight trend up and there's no balance whatsoever, and you can't play balance in an auction that's just going up or just going down, right? Like that you have to have strategies for what we would call a expansion day, and we have to have strategies for what we would call a market at rest, right? So you have days where the market is in motion. We have days where the market is at rest, which is balance. And we have to have different strategies for different day types, and we have to be able to recognize what kind of day type we're in to know which strategy we should be using. It's incredibly important that you are able to recognize what kind of structure and what day type we're in to know which strategies you should be utilizing in your arsenal. And then from that, you then figure out like, okay, well, we know the day type, we know what we're looking to trade.
In 5 minutes'
But
time now, at
what's
the top of the
the
hour, we see the release of the Canadian budget balance.
what
The
did the
prior was
candles look like?
3.63 billion.
And what I mean by candles is like, do we have very choppy structure getting to target? Do we have very fluid, very one directional structure getting price action getting to target? right? Like how does the move feel getting to that area that we wanted to get? Is it very one directional? Does it feel very fluid in its way that it's actually moving to that area? Or does it feel, very choppy and barcodey until we get to it? Some days, right, it looks like this for the movement, and it feels god awful to trade, where we don't really have a great entry, and you have to keep a very clear risk to get to that area because it's very choppy on the way up, right? It's not one directional in that movement. But today it's very clear who's in control when we get our movements, right? So we can size with that because we can have very clear invalidation areas, right? Like this 35 to this 36 to 56 is like a very clear invalidation area, and so this can be our risk, and we can trade larger size because we have clear pivots. Same thing on ES, where it's like our 68 to 72 is very clear, and we can keep that as our risk without having to be really scared of getting stopped out over and over again, right? Like on choppy days, that might not be enough of a tolerance on our trade, where we might get stopped out 2 or 3 times because of just the price action in general. So it's just like understanding what kind of price action we're seeing to know if you need to have a wider stop, right? So on days where we're more volatile, you want to have a wider stop but trade less size, right? And when we have less volatility, we can have a shorter stop or a smaller stop, but we can trade more size because our risk is very defined, and our what am I trying to say? That we have less chance to get stopped out because the action isn't as choppy, and again, like our risk is defined. So you can trade more size because you are expecting that less volatility into the individual candles, right? So it's just like understanding and having a solid understanding of what you're expecting in the market conditions that you're trading in, and then playing around that. That gives you your best risk to reward. Because you can be right, but still get chopped up and still lose, right? So understanding like what the market's doing and how it's behaving is super important to understand how you should be trading it. Does that make sense? Right? There's so many times where like you'll be right and be like, "Oh, I knew we were gonna go down there," but you stopped out, right? And it's like, okay, well, how do we prevent that? Well, we can look at what happened in the previous moves and be like, oh yeah, like clearly, I shouldn't be looking at first tests. Like the first tests in the areas are usually choppy before we get a direction, so I should be looking for a secondary move, and then I should be using that low as my risk. Like that's clearly how we've been trading in this market. Is we've been seeing some chop into our lows, and then we see a secondary participant step in, and then we see a higher low, and then I should be playing off of that participant. Same thing here. It's like, oh, we push into our area, but then we chop for a bit, and then we see a participant step in and then make a lower high, and then I should be using that as my risk, and that allows for a much clearer entry for this structure. So even though we held our edges, I don't want to get stopped out into our edges because we haven't shown interest yet at either one.
1 minute
right?
remaining
Like
for
very
the Canadian
clear
budget
interest of
balance.
where we're headed. So either like my risk is the literal low, so I don't get stopped out, or I have to wait for a secondary move down where we've seen an active buyer or an active seller step in to sweep price, right, in a direction, and then we look for that secondary participant to then step in at a higher low or a lower high to then rotate us down, and then we play off of that as our risk. So it's really just like understanding who's in control at a given time and then playing around them, right, after we've defined our structure, which is this area. There's no worse feeling than like knowing where we're headed and where we're trading and respecting, and then like still getting stopped out. Like that feels so
10
bad,
seconds.
man. And that's just like something that you start to come to understand after trading areas over and over again and analyzing them, being like, oh yeah, like this makes much more sense.
-1.51 billion, -1.51 billion.
All right, so we've done the full move. Now it's just a matter of what we do down here into our lows. Again, we need to flip this low for more downside, or just expect this to be with the bids resting. Yeah, yeah. I completed my first nightmare run. Feels good, man. Wasn't that bad, to be honest. The game right now, it feels like it's just shield abuse. So as long as you get your shield and you get your cooldown on like on attack ability, you're pretty alright. If you don't get that, then the run's kind of scuffed. But are you level 50 yet? Have you unlocked Deja Vu? Okay. You need to get to 50. You unlock Deja Vu at 50, which allows you to either take in a specific gem or ability at the start of the game. Completely changes everything. So you can be like, yeah. It's just overall level 50, not like character specific. Yeah, it is necessary. And the more runs that you beat the game with that item that you're taking in, the cheaper it gets to use to take in, because it costs Stardust to bring in that ability with you. But like the more wins you get with it, the cheaper worth. I'll be around a, like half of Saturday and then Sunday and Monday to play. I'm just so busy right now. It's basically like my only free time. My current schedule sucks, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Bank of England's Dingra plays down inflation and calls for rate cuts in an op-ed in the Times. So again, Bank of England's Dingra giving an op-ed to the Times, playing down inflation and calling for rate cuts.
Did you see real estate ended? Final chapter was this week.
We have posted out Bank of England's Dingra's op-ed in the Times on the feed for those interested. Bank of England's Dingra in this said the UK is not suffering from more food inflation than its peers. Bank of England's Dingra says earnings play a smaller role in services CPI. Bank of England's Dingra says shocks driving UK's high inflation will fade and we should not be overly cautious about cutting interest rates. In a statement, Canada's PM Carney and Australia's PM Albanese discussed opportunities to deepen economic and trade cooperation. Forward shares are up 4%, highest since July last year.
Yeah, of course, Basil. I'm just in runners still, just waiting for directionality. I'm hoping for more downside, but we got to get below this value low. Currently, just holding this POC here on our daily at 603, pushing into our value low edge now. So as long as this POC is holding and this is our low, we expect rotations to occur in between this area, right? And we're looking for either a bid to hold above and start to get back up for rotations up to this value high edge, or looks below and then hold for continuation down. So just expecting either bid to take over from this low, right, holding here at our 42, like 30 area, or we flip it and then this goes offer and then we look for more downside. But expect rotation or balance, I guess is the best way to put it, in between here, with our overall trend being to the downside until proven otherwise. But definitely balance to be expected here on both ES and NQ. That being said, right, like sell side is very clearly in control. What gives our catalyst, I think, is if Russell starts to fail here and hold below our 30-second opening range, that will lead to downside on ES and NQ. And we should then tag into the first target here into 26.1. It's our PVZ reversion zone. And then target 2 would be ETH low if this holds as. But we have to show interest below this for this to move to happen on NQ and ES, I think. If this fails to show interest below our 30-second opening range, then we'll continue to just do this rotation here in between. It's the same thing on ES. Just expect this to continue to rotate until proven otherwise. Once we are able to actually push below, though, then we can use this as our pivot to then play previous day POC to previous day value low. Right now, all we're doing is trading between previous day POC and previous day value high. All good. I've tried to get into that one so many times, man. I don't know. I'm reading it. I'm like 20% done with it. But I don't know. I feel like it does not.
So German Interior Minister says drones
I
have
don't
been
know.
seen overnight. Interior Ministry says we're investigating for suspicion of espionage and sabotage. Again, this is a German Interior Minister saying that drones are seen overnight.
There's something about the way it's written that I just like does not. Daily for me. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just the translation that I'm reading. That's bad. First king. I don't think so. Oh, the fist king. No. Really not. That's what it's called. I can look it up.
Citigroup expect a global growth to slow below 2% in the second half of this year. They say global growth is to rebound to 2.5% next year.
Oh, okay. I have it marked. You're talking about the Indomitable Marshall King or whatever.
Citigroup expect tariffs to increasingly bite.
All right, top of our range here on NQ, just like we talked about. Same thing on ES, just rotations in between. I think we're just balanced here for the short term. This is me, Varg. Just refuse. What's up, Smooth? Yeah, man. Mid is just comfy, you know? I don't have to be disappointed. I don't have to have a emotional disconnect after I finish, and I'm like, okay, well, what do I do now? Right after you read peak, it's like, oh no, now I've got nothing. I have read that. Yes.
French
Let me
PM
see
Lecornu
if how many
says
chapters I
starting
have left of
2026
that one.
budget from scratch.
Oh my god, this sucks. I was reading on Asura, so like now it says it's not saving where I left off because Asura is no more. That sucks. Is it because they're over to they're no, it's the opposite. Because once you finish it, then you gotta wait. Then it's like, what do I do now?
French PM says austerity budget for 2026 is out of the question.
Reversion back to our VWAP here on ES, as well as our 30-second opening range. NQ also back to VWAP, as well as our 30-second opening range. Watching to see if we can look above, or if this is going to be another failure where sellers absorb and then rotate us back down. If you took longs off of our low, this is a great risk off in my opinion. Just as we've seen, sell side has been kind of in control into this high over and over again so far. We're going to need to see a very clear look above and hold, with ideally Russell showing interest here above VWAP, right? If this can go supportive, then upside feels pretty comfy for like a continuation move. But if this VWAP hold doesn't happen and we can't show interest over, I'm not expecting a ton from the market here. Just expect like rotations back through. So let's see what happens. We want to see a very clear hold here, or it'll be a very similar to what happened last time, which is a look above and then a failure and look back through, just like we did here, right? So it is fine to look for a long here, but if we fail to bid and hold this area, right, we'll be looking for the look back below, and then we'll play
French
the
PM
offer
says I
from
target the budget
60,
deficit of around
69 to
4.7% of
72,
GDP next year.
the downside again. That's basically it. Right, previous day value high holds as supportive here on retest, or we'll look back below and then offer it and then do the rotation through off of another failure to bid, just like we did that on our last attempt.
French
Super
PM
important.
says the 2026 deficit goal is compatible with a 3% target in 2029.
For NQ specifically, I don't think that there's a great entry here until we can get over like 56.60, and then see that as bid. Or this just feels a little rough here because this is just our seller reoffer and our view up. But if we can continue to hold this 615, you're in an okay spot, right? This is our 30-second opening range low. So as long as this is staying bid, we can look for this rotation back up to this 60. And we look for a secondary buyer to then care above. If we get that, then we should look up, just like we have passed. But we want to see just like a very clear ability to hold where this seller was previously, right? Twice. We want this to now be supportive. We want to build out this tail of this very clear D distribution that we have down here. And we just want to see that build out. Like we can build out here, then sure, let's go up. But I want us to be back above this pivot. We get above that pivot,
French
we're in a
PM
much
says
better
some taxes
position.
are to rise and some are to fall in the budget plan. Cornu says if we cannot get a French budget between now and the end of the year, the deficit could be at 6%. French PM says the Zuckman tax isn't the right response for France.
I can open the giveaway thing. Doesn't matter. Start marble. Offer holding our same pivot as before, just like we thought. We need to see this bid be here, or again, like these guys are just gonna get absolutely slapped down.
So French PM there saying there's no plan to reinstate wealth tax that was abolished in 2017.
What's up, Andrew?
French PM says I hope to pass a budget bill without using Article 49 Spot 3. So just to make users aware, Article 49.3 that he's referencing here allows the government to force passage of a law without a vote. French PM Lecornu says suspending the pension reform would not help solve key questions.
I'm gonna finish it today. Wonder what they're gonna work on next. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I would assume that they've got something going. Really not much to talk about right now. Sorry, guys. Just a waiting game while we traverse through balance. watching to see if Russell can maintain up here at VWAP and get above our value edge, or if we're going to rotate back down. Really not interested in NQ until we see this build over a value edge here at our 60s. This is when I become interested for longs. Until then, it just looks like we'll continue to balance right now, right? Again, I'm only interested in shorts if we can start to hold this as resistance. Then we play off of this like we have been. If not, then this is just a flag, and then we look for rotations up. There are 1,000 contracts on the offer. Had music. We used to have music, but people prefer different ones.
According to
And
a
there's just
US
nothing to
official,
say, man.
India needs to address US market access concerns, the trade deficit, and purchases of Russian oil.
A lot of people have this up at work, so I try not to talk if there's. I'm not like the prop firm streams where they're like trying to keep you entertained. We're here to trade. I get where you're coming from, but like I said, there are a lot of people who have my stream up while they're like at their real job. Yeah, just put on your own music. But yeah, there's really not much to say. I mean, we're just in our balance rotation still, right? Just so we talked about. Failure on a push over, right? We've now looked below. We're looking for rotations back through. Same thing on NQ. We are in our balance. Not looking for upside until we can flip this as supportive above our 60, like we talked about. Not looking for downside until we can push below our 30 to 50. Nothing else here. Hmm, it depends, man. I mean, you could definitely be scalping ranges. Like, there's nothing that's telling me or telling you that you can't do that, right? Like, it's just like, what do you consider a scalp? I mean, you could be playing every single one of these rotations, right? Like you say, like there's only one or two max trades a day, but like we've rotated this balance now 5 times, you know. And before that, we rotated our balance 4, right? So like there's tons of trades available. It's just like, are they all the same opportunity? Do they offer the same level of opportunity each attempt, right? Sometimes I don't want to yeah, I mean, like, again, like that's what these are. These are balanced rotations without any continuation. Like these are exactly what you're looking for, right? Like this is exactly that. But like the problem is where we've slowed down a bit, and like our range is still ranging. So like, do you want to be in this short where we're not really showing a ton of interest right now, even though directionally it is very clear where we're headed?
Nasdaq turning negative,
Personally,
last down 0.2%.
right? Like we know what the play is here. It's the look into this, the reoffer, and then the rotation through. But like, I don't want to play that. We've done this same short like multiple times today. Nothing has changed about that logic. But it's just like very slow, and I don't like to short or long in slow markets personally, unless I'm already in a runner. But like, I would assume that we're headed down to 530, 550 here. Look at our POCs, right? We're holding it as resistance right now. So as long as that stays true, I'm expecting a rotation back down to our low of balance. It's just really like, again, like what are you willing to trade, and what's your risk? And I like speed because I don't like to be in trades that are going to take 40 minutes to play out for the same amount of points that I could be getting in 5 minutes. But like, again, like nothing has shifted in our balance overall. That yellow zone is a node? No, it's the tail of our node. See how this is our node? And this is our tail. Fridays are risk profit taking? I don't know about that. Just play the balance rotation, right? Like, again, we don't expect expansion until we can hold one of our tails. This is discount, this is premium, this distribution in which we are trading. We are stuck at the middle where all of the volume is trading. And this is our 30-second opening range. This is our value high. Why do I expect expansion if we can't get over our value high and hold? Don't, right? I don't expect expansion to the downside unless we can hold our value low and hold. So if we're just rotating in our daily value, then I expect this to be balanced. Right? Like it's pretty obvious. Again, like this is the entire system. This is like the basis for everything. So as long as we're in this, then you should expect rotations back and forth between this. And then all you're doing is looking for a look into this area and then a lower high, and then you play off of that with the offer stepping down for rotations through. But we're at the mid right now, which means that it's just chop. Two-sided trading, so just don't really have much to talk about while we're traversing the middle of our range. So you don't feel price won't respect the levels in Friday sometimes? I don't know if I really understand the question. Probably like 12:45 Eastern. Same thing. We've been doing about the same time every day. 12:45, 1-ish. I don't know. My goal is to basically get on, trade for, get some really nice trades, you know, for the first 2 hours. And then we get the slowdown at lunch, and then we do the giveaway during the slowdown. during the lunch hour, and then I leave, and then Mario carries the stream for the rest of the day. So that I don't have to sit here for 2.5 hours while we are slow. Sure, but like, how does that affect the with what we're in regards to how I'm trading? Like, do you think that value no longer exists? Like, even if there's profit taking, we're still just trading down to another area of value. So like, nothing changes. I don't really understand. I mean, it always works. That guys, like, it's auction market theory. Like, there's no point to where, like, if there's a larger participant who is looking to position or risk off a position, like, that will be shown via our order flow, and then we will trade around it. The break of value is a trade. The entry back into value is a trade. Trending down in the market is a trade. We're then going to be taking profit into a previous area of value. At no point does our value or accumulation of where people are buying and selling change. It's just like we shift outside of broader value, more of a micro value, right? Like, if we look at here, like, the best way I can put this is, let's open. Like, if we look at it daily, like, we're just going up. So like, what do you mean? Right? But like, if we go down on a smaller time frame, we have some structural levels. So like, even if, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really understand. Like, you just don't trade Fridays? Like, I don't really get. Like, our overall trend is just up to the right. Get me? But if we go down to a smaller time frame, there's still areas of balance. At no point do we just go straight up. See how we chop sideways, then go up, chop sideways, go up. Market doesn't just move in one direction all the time. It might on a higher time frame look like that, but the market does this. It rallies, it bases, it rallies, it bases, it rallies, it bases, it drops, it bases, it retests, it drops, right? Like, it moves in rotational patterns. And so, like, these areas where we consolidate are areas where we'll look for pullback. So even if we, like, break, let's say, this very clear balance that we're defined in right now, what is our resistance? Well, it's just the balance from above, right? So like, all we do is this is very clearly our resistance here. This is very clearly our value low here, right? So we've now created our two areas where we need to see price be able to push through. This is our resistance, our short-term resistance. This is where we're looking for excess at our lows. Where can we find, why is this our pivot? Well, go and put a fixed range on this at this low as well. Is there any reason why we're seeing a bid happen here? Well, yeah, because this is the balance high where price rotated down towards, right? So this is our low. We see that buyers are still very present from this basing. So we're still finding that bid here, and we're still finding our offer up here. So our overall auction is still rotating in the exact same balance. We are rotating between this seller and this buyer. Our value high from this range, right? From this low, and we are coming down into it, finding a bid, and then rotating off of it. So should I be looking for any sort of crazy downside move until we are able to hold this as our resistance and hold this value low? No. So I'm just expecting rotations to occur in between here. Should I be looking for any sort of expansion potential until we can push above this? No, it doesn't make sense. So now we've defined our range. We've defined our areas where our sellers are located. We can even do this to a further extent. We can then do this spacing. We can do this spacing, right? And now we've defined our areas of our pivots of where price needs to be able to push through before we can look for that continuation. And now we have our levels. So if we break and hold above this, that's a pretty good, we have a pretty good idea of where we're headed. So like, not at no point am I, like, there's always another area that we can look for. So like if we traded below this and we started to see that seller step in on a Friday, like I'd just be looking for that rotation down. But until then, like we have a broader understanding of where we're trading from here right now. If we at any point were able to then hold this high and then we were able to push over this, I'd be looking for expansion up. Because that is telling me that there is now a shift where this seller is now our buyer. And now I want to be playing long. And if this ever failed on a look above, we'd be then looking for this as our offer for the rotation down. Right? Like, it's the same for like FOMC. You have to remember, like, when our micro ranges are balanced, okay, sorry, let me restart. On FOMC, we see something where our smaller balance that we were trading in, so let's say like this is a very tight range that we're trading in, which is like, yeah, that's true. When FOMC starts, or like the meeting minutes come out, or JPOW is about to start speaking, you're gonna see liquidity drain on the DOM. So like right now we have on ES, there's like 30 to 50 contracts at each price level. When FOMC, or if like Trump's about to start speaking, or there's some like big news event happening, you're gonna see liquidity pull away, where instead of like 30 to 50 contracts on each price point, you're going to see like 5 to 10 at most, right? And that is going to create volatility in the spread, right? Because liquidity is pulling away from the market. But that liquidity that's pulling away at each individual price point on the DOM is still located at our edges, right? They just don't have any interest in the mid prices on our DOM. But our overall pivots, right? This is where that liquidity is now resting instead of at every individual price point in between. So all we need to be aware of is where our larger zone pivots are, and then play around those and ignore everything in the middle. Because we understand that in volatile markets, liquidity pulls away, and that we would then need to find our larger areas of value. And as long as we have those marked, right, then we are just going to only be looking for trades around those edges. That's all it is. So it's the same thing, and it, like, again, like this idea, this framework works in regardless of the day. Sometimes some days it works better than others because we have more liquidity, right? We have a more clear directional bias. But like at the end of the day, no matter what, like it's going to work because the market is an auction and we are trading in a distribution, right? Like we have an agreement of price right now. This is our current agreement in price. This distribution is telling us all we need to know, right? We have a very clear D profile here in our distribution where we have people who think that this is cheap, and we have people who think this is expensive, and we have a very clear node in the middle where we have both two-sided trading, right? This is our POC. So until we can break and hold above or below and actually show a shift out of this structure, there's no reason to expect anything else. If we can hold these highs outside of value, then we should expect expansion. If this fails up here, we'll look for these participants to be offsides, and then we'll look for the rotation back down. And we can do that on this smaller time frame like we are right now, and on the 15-second. But this still works on the 15-minute, the daily, the weekly, right? The monthly. Because everything is just an auction. It just depends on the time frame that you're looking at and what kind of move you're expecting. But none of these principles change. It's just how the market moves. The only way that we get movement is if someone thinks that the price can go higher, right? Or lower.
and then we have movement based off of that idea, right? Someone has to buy or sell. And at any given point, there has to be a buyer and a seller to agree on that price, and then they exchange, right? It's an auction. There has to be an agreed upon price. And if there's no buyer that's willing to take, then what happens? Well, we go down until we find that buyer. Just like we go up until we find that seller. That's how the market moves. And it doesn't just like go to random levels, right? We go to where the price wants to go, right? Where people are comfortable buying or selling. So as long as we have those levels defined based off of historic value or current market generated information, right? MGI, off of our DOM and our order flow that we're seeing on the day, we continue up in that trend, right? Like someone has to be there for this to work. Yeah, you should be able to use like the fixed range volume profile is just a tool. So if you go to your side thing right here, it's in one of these subsections. I don't remember which one. Oh, it's in this one. In the projections. It's right here. You should be able to use that. This? I'm not sure. I haven't used free TradingView in years, so I don't know what's available. But you could check very easily. Just go to your indicators, click this button, and then go to technicals, profiles, and then they'll be here. The ones that are on my chart are the visible range profile and the session volume profile. These two are on my chart. I'm not sure what's available. Very good hold so far of our value edge on ES. Am I in this? Yeah, from 615. Taking off a little here though. See if we can get a secondary ad. Yeah, but when we're like slow, man, I usually switch back to NQ just so that I can capture more points. If the trade looks better, then I'll trade ES, but I don't know. It's just like whatever I'm feeling. Whatever one looks better and feels like it's going to move a bit clearer in my direction. Hoping that we get a retest of 50. I don't know. TradingView Premium is definitely worth. Just wait for a sale, like Black Friday or Christmas or something. It's usually like 80% off. Where would I plot it for you, Brave? Like from where to where? And what time frame? All right, we need to see RTY show interest here at our value edge if we're going to do anything new, or this will be another failure outside of value. We're watching this 35 to 55 on NQ to see if a bid can happen here, and then if we can get back above 60. That's the most important thing, is if this bid can show interest here. With RTY also finding a bid here at our value edge. These put in very clear lower highs and then push below these pivots, then it's just going to be a failure, and then we'll use this as our offside trader and then play on the rotation back down. I think so from like here to here, or you want it from like here to that's from our edge to our edge. Or even if you don't have it, right? Like it's on stream, and our idea of like what we're looking for is on stream, right? And so there are a lot of people that are in our Discord who don't even have a chart open. They just watch my stream and have a DOM on their phone. Right? Like are you a member? Most of our content is locked behind needing to be a member. You are? Oh yeah, most of it's locked behind that. Mm-hmm. Because it's all from our previous classes. We do a class every Monday covering a different topic, and then all of those VODs are in a huge, like, organized list by module. Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. Yo, what's up, man?
Not much.
Yeah,
It's Friday.
they're on Discord as like an organization tool in a hidden tab, our channel, and then they're also on our YouTube, right? Because that's where they're all recorded.
How have the rotations been feeling today?
I mean, they were good until like 12, right? Or like
Yeah.
11:30ish, but they were really good this morning. Slowed down a bit.
Yeah. We stayed a pretty good afternoon yesterday, so
That's good.
I'm hoping that it's like that today again.
Yeah, like this is what I'm talking about. Brave. Like we have this whole section called premium lesson links, and then we have like the master list, and it breaks down all of our like modules, right? And it just keeps going and 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 going. And then we have the individual lessons for each kind of like chapter. Like here's your footprint lessons, etc. And then it goes through and breaks down individual topics. Yeah, there's a lot. And we've been doing this for quite some time, so a lot of modules. Why is he always TMing me? Because he always has some political take he wants to talk about. Just all he does is send me tweets. All he does. Yeah, I mean, again, like you've been here for a couple weeks, I feel like now, like watching stream. Just keep doing that until you feel comfortable. Feel like you're learning and it's a good vibe, then join. Right? Don't feel pressure. And maybe you'll win today. What we're giving away today is not a prop account, but actually membership to our both Easy Algo as well as TFC, which is worth much more than a prop. We're giving out 3 different things today. 3 to 5, I'm not sure which. But each race will be a winner. I think we're doing 3 or 5 races, I'm not sure. So you have a good chance to get a free membership today. I don't know anything about Pivot Boss. I'm not very familiar with that. Is Pivot Boss just like fib based, I'm assuming? I'll let Tom go over it more when he gets on. He should be here relatively soon, and he can talk about it. He's the one that's decided the what we're giving away today. So I'm not particularly. I don't know the specifics. I just know that we're giving away TFC accounts and Easy Algo accounts today. Give you guys a taste. But if you win the TFC account, that means that you have my streams every day instead of just Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Easy Algo is auto trading for prop firms. So you basically join the our service, and then it trades for you and beats your eval for you. Yeah, we have three different businesses. We have Hydra, which is automated options trading. So you just put money into an account and then it does the trading for you. We're outperforming the S&P 500 by 7.5%. We have over 2 million in user funds in that. And then we have Easy Algos, which is Tom's baby. And that is curated strategies that are outperforming and pass and are within the parameters, like the rules for the major prop firms, so we can use them there. And basically it's auto trading for prop firm accounts, and you just let those run. And then we have the live trading, which is what I do, which is our indicators and streaming and education. So we have manual trading, we have auto trading for both options and futures. Yes, yes, yes. So it's really just depends on like what you want to do and what your commitment level is going to be like. Right? Some people want to learn how to manually trade. Some people just want it to be done for them. Some people just want passive income coming in via like the option stuff. Some people want all three. Does it use the same strategies and framework you guys do for Easy Algos? For the auto tradings, the Easy Algo stuff, that's different. They're specifically designed with algorithmic trading in mind. But some of the framework is the same. A lot of like value stuff. You would have to join the Discord for more information. I don't really handle those kind of things. But Tom is the person to talk to. Our websites would be a good place to start. The financial.cloud will give you information on our education, indicators, and options auto trading. Easy algos is a separate thing. But everything else is on the website. I'll just put it in chat, man. This is the website link. Yes, we have lots of modules on options. We will be getting even more options content relatively soon. The guy who runs the Hydra options has a full class that he's done modules for, and will be coming to TFC relatively soon as well. And he is a ex-fund trader. That is very good.
The education module's quite good as well.
Yeah.
White House says the latest pharmaceuticals tariffs do not apply to countries with negotiated trade deals. So again, White House say the latest pharmaceuticals tariffs don't apply to countries with negotiated trade deals.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no reason to still run options when we have it automated, right? So, like, the only reason that you're manually trading now is because you're trading futures. Braxton trades options for you, right?
Do your indicators work on NinjaTrader? There hasn't been enough interest for us to port them over. If there was, we could definitely do a port, but they are TradingView exclusive right now because that's where most of our interest has been. Just takes a lot of time to port stuff. Code it in a different language. That's not really worth if it's just like 1 or 2 people.
So in 10 minutes time now, at the top of the hour, we see the release of the weekly Baker Hughes rig count numbers. Oil rigs saw a prior of 418, while total rigs saw a prior of 542. Keep in mind also, at the top of the hour, we're expecting comments from Fed Vice Chair for Supervision, Bowman, who speaks on monetary policy decision-making at the Cornell Club in New York. Text is expected, as well as a Q&A from the audience.
All right. Slowly grinding our way up here. Good hold of our pivot. Pushing into PVC, POC here. Good first target off of our hold of our 55 to 35. Top of balance. Good hold, good holds. I'd be looking to start taking off a little profit here. I think we can keep going up. We've got a good hold via POCs, but this is a great first target, I think. We push into this 80. Same thing on ES, of course, right? Hold of our pivot. Coming into our ETH high. Need to see a very clear look above and hold if we're going to go higher. And then, of course, our target would be 95s above if 90 flips. Just holding POC, just into our offer that's sitting here at 90s. Same thing on RTY off of our hold that we were looking for on our value edge. Just coming up into our previous high, right? So just kind of a rotation right now that we're expecting so we can get above. Yeah, there's probably a lot to pull from there. Treasure trove of Joe.
In 5 minutes' time now, at the top of the hour, we are expecting the weekly Baker Hughes rig count numbers. Oil rigs prior 418, total rigs prior 542. Keep in mind also at the top of the hour, we're expecting comments from Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Bowman, who speaks on monetary policy decision making at the Cornell Club in New York. Text is expected, as well as a Q&A from the moderator and an audience.
If you haven't already, please type !play in chat to sign up for the giveaway. That'll be starting shortly as soon as is call.
It's time.
We're shortly expecting the Baker Hughes rig count numbers, as 1 minute away now as well from the text release from Fed's Bowman.
Pushing into target now, up of retest of R90, pop into 95. Yes, a little bit more room up into like 710. 15 races? Hell no. Probably winner takes just one win equals one account. We'll be doing 3 of those. 3 races. First place gets the account. That's what my guess is. I don't have time for people trying to leave
10
right
seconds. So comments coming through now from Fed Bowman. It says, inflexible and dogmatic view of data dependence gives backward-looking view of the economy and guarantees we remain behind the curve. The Fed should consider shifting focus from overweighting the latest data points to a proactive, forward-looking approach. Bowman says, I prefer the smallest balance sheet possible with reserves closer to scarce than ample. Active balance sheet management would give more timely indication of market stress and market function issues. Says the lower level of reserves might encourage banks to be more active in reserve positions and liquidity risk management. A smaller balance sheet as a percentage of GDP gives the Fed more optionality to respond to future shocks. Bowman says, I strongly support holding only treasuries. I look forward to discussions of the sales of
now. I do not
MBS.
have time.
The passive runoff won't allow return to treasury only holdings in credible timeframes. And Bowman says balance sheet shifted toward more shorter dated securities would offer more flexibility. Emergency lending facilities should be limited to single purpose use in emergencies and not made permanent. Says reforming enhanced supplementary leverage ratio would address some of the problems permanent facilities like standing repo were designed to alleviate. And says I see slower population growth and aging population as more prominent factors in pulling down the neutral rate.
Yes, really nice kind of bid step up here in 90. Really not coming over this. We'll see if I can continue to hold it.
Baker Hughes total rigs 549, 549. Oil rigs 424, 424.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Tom.
Did you let people know what the prizes are today?
Yep. Let's get started.
Okay. I'm getting everything set up right now.
We have posted out the speech by Fed spokesman on the feed for you to read through. Nasdaq turned positive, last up 0.3%.
Oh, it's on your. I mean, I have another business. I work on that as soon as I get out of here every day.
Got a record today for 100 people.
Crazy. Yeah.
All right. Ready when you are.
Hiding in between. Marbles, they bounce, they fly, they tumble. Marbles, I'm losing trouble, I'm in trouble.
Turn my music down a little.
One in my shoe. Stuck in the glue.
There we go. A little better now.
Where's the yellow I once knew?
I made this song.
Sounds like Sabrina Carpenter.
It kind of does, yeah. All right, let's go. All right, so we're going to do 3 races. Every winner of each race gets to pick a free account of their choice between TFC and Easy Algos for a free month. So let's go. This is buckshot, so all that matters is how close to the center you get. Doesn't matter who goes first. Kind of a cool twist. All right. There's like, 2, 4, 6 different ramps that you could take to hit the buckshot?
Marbles rolling down the hill. They never stop.
All right, I'm going to do this so we can see the launches here. Ooh,
Wow.
that's a good one. That's a lot of people. Oh. Contract Shark. I haven't seen that name before. And here's Zen. Oh, how many left we got? That should do it. All right, Contract Shark, you won the first one. Go ahead and send me a DM on Discord or open a help ticket in the TFC Discord, and we'll get you whatever you want.
Just take like the
All
first 5 just in case they're not here.
Okay, I will copy these down just to be safe. All right, random track. Ooh. This one looks wicked. Let's go. There we go. Got a lot going on here. Tesla coils. All right, Alex Ross out to the early lead. Patient Pays coming up second. Battle for first right now. How many deaths do you think we're going to get this race, Sig?
What's the... Oh, there are some holes.
Yeah, it's going to be like in the middle that people die.
Probably like 15.
Ugh. Okay, that's annoying. Oh, there goes a bunch of people. Like 6 people died so far. Yeah, there's. Oh, what the? Did Dr. Dev just get? What happened to him? He got like a shortcut. I think at least 10 people have died so far. Ooh, almost had it. Oh, we got people dropping like flies. Alright, Dr. Dev takes this one. Dev, go ahead and send me a DM or open a help ticket in TFC, please. Where are these portals coming from? It's like random portals that kill people.
I have no clue.
No, I don't like that. The sound effects are annoying. 22 people have died so far. 26 people. Alright, 32 people. 34. So Dr. Dev, shoot me a DM or message in the Discord. Ooh, fire's taking everyone out. Alright, congratulations. Copy this just in case. A leap to remember. Oh wow. They weren't kidding. I feel like a lot of people are going to die on this one. Oh, what the? It's like a cannon? That's cool. Yep, a lot of people are dying. Oh, how did Jenks get down there? Wow. Talk about a cannon shot. Oh, can he land in here though? Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's got to be a record. Beat everyone by almost a minute. That's crazy. I guess Jenks, send me a DM or a message in the Discord.
I haven't seen a single person from who's won type in chat. Yeah.
Well, we'll give him a few minutes after, and if not, we'll go to the next person, whoever came in second, and go down the list.
Yeah, if we don't hear a response from them, then we'll say on Monday. We'll just go down the list for the next person. Not gonna sit here for 40 minutes if they're not here.
Yep. Congratulations, everyone. That was a pretty quick one today, but we'll have to look and see what we can do for next month, next week. Stay tuned to find out.
Yep.
Alright, I got everyone recorded here. Just gonna look at my DMs to see if I got some DMs.
Can you say the winners again for 1 through 3?
Yeah, so we got Jenks, I think Dr. Dev, and then the first person was Contract Shark. Jenks, Doc Dev, Contract Shark
Awesome.
are the 3 winners. The prize is you can have a free month of any TFC plan or a free month of any monthly plans. You get a free month of TFC or Easy Algos, or I'd even throw 100 free month of Hydra options in there too. But it's not technically free because the lowest I can discount it is $5, and then C2 charges $49. But you'd save $195, so it's still a good deal. Yeah, Just shoot me a message and we'll go from there.
All right. And again, like if winners don't message Tom, then we'll give it to the next person in line until someone responds. Because I think there are a decent amount of people who are not here for that. This is full target for me. This is our 95 on ES after our hold of 90s. Another 5 points there. So in total, our 83-86 pivot was able to maintain, and we've now pushed to target. Yes, for NQ, our 55 is now pushed into target into 714. I just have a single contract left into this. We'll watch to see if we can get above or if this is it. But yeah, really it. Just trend up since we've been able to expand outside of balance.
It's a nice base pocket of liquidity here on ES still too.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if we can get over 700s and hold on ES, probably upside. But I expect this to kind of be a little choppy for a bit, unless we see like a big bid intake. But overall trend is still present, so I'm not expecting downside. Just either like chop and consolidation, and then we decide, or just an immediate move outside above this pivot. Nothing yet that like this is the top.
Surely expecting Fed reverse repo operation data.
Maybe it is. I don't know. But I've taken off most risk. As long as our bid, I think, is maintaining at like 690, like 680 on NQ, you're probably good for uptrend. So like watch this LVN here. We can find like a bid there as we push. This can hold. We'd look for something like that. If hold, I'd be looking back down for short term. Again, like this is RDS target. We can get over this and bid. Probably upside, then rotate through. This being first PT, probably. That'd be my guess. If this isn't just the top. All right, that's my pathing for the afternoon, at least for right now, based off of the information that I have on screen. But I'm gonna head out. You guys have a good rest of your day. Have a great weekend. I will see you Monday. Some really nice trades today.
23 counterparties take
Goodbye.
$48.003 billion